What if I told you the thing that could bring an entire dying continent back to life was being thrown in the trash? Not a secret government experiment, not some billion-pound tech solution. Wool. Rejected, rotting, unsellable sheep wool being dumped into cracked, lifeless soil and doing something scientists didn't fully predict. It was working. And once you hear what happened in the Gobi Desert because of it, you won't be able to look at a sheep the same way again. Australia, 2.9 million square miles, an entire continent belonging to one country. You'd think there's room for everything: farms, cities, life. But here's what they don't put in the travel brochures. Over 50% of Australia's agricultural land is so destroyed by wind erosion, water erosion, and salt poisoning that nothing useful grows on it without serious treatment. And in total, roughly 2/3 of the entire country is classified as degraded land. The global average in 2022? Just 22%. Australia isn't behind, it's in a category of its own. Now picture a farmer, call him Daniel, standing on his property in New South Wales in early 2020. The soil beneath his boots looks like the surface of Mars, pale, cracked, dead. He bends down, picks up a handful, and it just dissolves through his fingers like ash. Nothing's going to grow here, he tells his son. Not this season. He had no idea it was about to get worse. Weeks later, the 2019 to 2020 Australian bushfires swallowed everything. In Sydney, rainfall had dropped to just 0.8 inches over an extended period. Temperatures hit 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Farmland across New South Wales and Queensland turned to dust. Scientists issued a warning nobody wanted to hear. This is not a one-time event. The droughts will keep coming. The land will keep dying. So the question no one could answer was, what do you even do with land that's already dead? The answer had been sitting in warehouses for years, piling up, rotting. Nobody wanted it. Nobody knew what to do with it, until someone pointed it at the ground. Right now, 194 million sheep are roaming across China, the largest sheep population on Earth. India holds 75 million. Australia, just over 70 million. And those 70 million sheep are the centre of a global industry most people don't think twice about. Australia is the wool capital of the world. Back in the 1790s, a breed called the Merino was brought from South Africa to Australia. Over generations, it adapted to the harsh Australian environment and produced something extraordinary. The finest, softest wool fibre on the planet. Not just better than regular wool, better than most synthetic alternatives. Today, this wool ends up in luxury clothing, military thermals, and high-performance athletic gear. 45% of the world's wool supply comes from Australia. Nearly half the planet's wool. One country. So when the market crashed, it hit like a wave. 2018 to 2019 was the peak. Prices were high, farmers were thriving, then demand dropped, and prices fell to around 800 Australian dollars per 220 pounds of wool. Today, it sits near 1,200 Australian, still nowhere near what it was. Farmers faced two options: pay to store the wool and wait, or throw it away. Thousands of tons of merino wool, some of the finest fibre on Earth, went to landfills. A wool producer from Victoria, named Fiona, watched a truck haul away bale after bale of unsold fleece. She later said, it felt criminal, like burying something that still had a purpose. She had no idea how literally right she was. Because at the exact same time the wool industry was collapsing, researchers were staring at a patch of dead Australian soil and asking a question that changed everything. What if the thing the market doesn't want is exactly what the land is starving for? Australian companies started running rejected wool through specialised machines. What came out looked ordinary, small, dense pellets, but the chemistry inside those pellets was anything but ordinary. Raw wool contains 50% carbon, 14.6% nitrogen, 5% sulfur, plus calcium, magnesium, and iron. It's a slow-release biological battery, feeding soil over months, not days, without the chemical burn that synthetic fertilizers cause. And then there's the water story. Wool pellets can absorb up to 20 times their own weight in water and release it slowly, exactly as the soil needs it. In a country being carved apart by drought, that's not a nice feature, that's survival. Farmers in arid regions reported seeing something they hadn't seen in years: green. Sustained, real green, in places that had been brown and cracked for as long as they could remember. The pellets decompose over 6 months, quietly nourishing the soil the entire time. They also improve soil porosity, the structural quality that lets roots breathe, expand, and anchor. And here's the detail that sounds almost too strange to believe. Snails and slugs, among the most destructive garden pests on the planet, cannot cross a barrier of wool pellets. The microscopic fibre spikes on the wool surface create physical irritation they can't push through. No chemicals, no poison, just wool. If this is already making you rethink what gets thrown away, hit like right now. Because what happened next, in a Norwegian mountain trail and a Mongolian desert, takes this to a completely different level. By 2024, Australian farmers were wrapping plum trees in wool padding mixed with cornstarch, trees planted in soil that experts would have called too poor to produce fruit. One controlled study found a 37% increase in fruit yield compared to untreated trees in the same soil. Fruit weight and size jumped by 48.9%. Nutritional quality improved measurably. Same experiment, strawberries, same result. Then came the compost trial. Old wool blankets, 100% biodegradable, were mixed with food waste from commercial businesses, wrapped in mesh, and composted over several weeks. Tested against Australian national compost standards for heavy metals, mineral contamination, and pesticides, it passed every category. The compost showed balanced nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium levels, a complete soil food. It went into community gardens and grew healthy, nutrient-rich produce in spaces that had barely supported anything before. Even rejected wool products, defective sweaters, imperfect blankets, anything unsellable, now had a destination: the ground, not a landfill. Then the liquid version arrived. Liquid wool fertilizer, easy to store, applied with sprayers, and packed with amino acids that trigger root growth, boost photosynthesis by increasing chlorophyll concentration, and help soil retain moisture at the molecular level. The soil doesn't just recover with wool, it wakes up. But what happens when you take this same wool and drop it into one of the most hostile places on Earth? Not a dry Australian paddock, a real desert. Sand as far as the eye can see, wind that strips everything. A place where survival rates for planted trees were described by scientists as close to zero. In the Mongolian section of the Gobi Desert, researchers tried something that most experts thought was pointless. They spread wool fertilizer pellets across barren desert land, between 2 and 11 tons per 2.4 acres. Before treatment, vegetation cover was sitting at 1%, almost entirely deep-rooted desert survivors, ancient, stubborn plants that could theoretically exist anywhere, including Mars. After wool treatment, vegetation cover jumped to 50 to 60%. And it wasn't just more of the same tough plants. Plant species diversity increased by 40% compared to untreated land. New species, fragile species, species that had no evolutionary reason to survive in that desert, now surviving. Scientists published a conclusion that caught the agricultural world off guard. Wool is a more effective soil restoration tool than mineral fertilizers in extreme desert conditions. Not equally effective, more effective. Now bring it back to Australia. 52,000 square miles of Australian land are classified as true desert, 18% of the mainland. Another 35% of the continent receives so little rain, it functions like desert even without the label. Sand expanding every year, nothing holding it in place. The same country producing 45% of the world's wool, is sitting on land that's actively dying. And the same wool being dumped in landfills could stop it. Wool pellets, wool mulch, wool compost, liquid wool fertilizer. These aren't theories, they're already working. In Norwegian mountain trails, in Mongolian desert, in Australian orchards and community gardens. The sheep are already there. The wool is already there. The land is already waiting. This isn't a question of whether it works. It works. The only question is, how long before the rest of the world pays attention? Share this video. Seriously, drop it somewhere. Most people will never hear this story. Subscribe, because we find the ones that matter. A continent throwing away what its land is starving for. That's not a supply chain problem. That's a mirror.